What if the hero who saves humanity isn't the one who figures everything out, but the one who knows how to listen? Project Hail Mary arrives as 2026's most unexpected celebration of vulnerability, collaboration, and the power of choosing connection when the world is literally on fire. When we think of space heroes, we think of confidence. We think of Matt Damon's Mark Watney in The Martian, cracking jokes while solving impossible math problems alone on Mars. We think of the endless parade of action star astronauts who punch their way through alien encounters and emerge victorious through sheer willpower. Ryland Grace, played by Ryan Gosling and Phil Lord in Christopher Miller's new film, is none of these things. He's a middle school science teacher who wakes up on a spaceship with complete amnesia, discovers that his crewmates are dead, and learns he's the only survivor of a mission to save Earth from an extinction-level threat. His immediate response? He wants to hide in his quarters and drink vodka. He does not want to be a hero. He does not want to save humanity. And somehow, this profound reluctance becomes the film's greatest achievement. Here's the curious thing the film does with Ryland Grace's background. It frames his career as a science teacher, not as a stepping stone to something greater, but as a deliberate retreat. The novel hints that Grace abandoned his research career after facing intellectual pushback, choosing instead to teach, a profession where, as one critic notes, nobody can truly challenge your most deeply held beliefs. It could read as resignation, as settling, as the path of someone who gave up, but the film reframes it entirely. Grace's teaching skills become the exact tools that allow him to communicate with Rocky, the Iridian alien he encounters in space. Patience, clarity, the ability to explain quantum physics or microorganism behavior in ways that actually land, the ability to listen without judgment, the ability to meet someone where they are, even if they speak in whale song and don't understand human sarcasm. These aren't the skills we've been taught to celebrate in heroes. They're soft skills, coded as feminine, often dismissed as secondary to the real work of problem-solving and action. Yet in Project Hail Mary, they're positioned as survival skills. They're not background details. They're the only things that matter when you're alone with someone you can't speak to, and your respective planets are both dying. The film is making a statement, whether intentionally or not. The kind of strength that actually saves the world looks a lot like teaching. It looks like showing up for someone even when you're scared. It looks like vulnerability. This is where the film's feminism becomes undeniable. Ryland Grace doesn't save Rocky through some stroke of genius or heroic self-sacrifice. He saves Rocky and Rocky saves him through actual relationship. When Rocky breaks his protective Xenonite enclosure to rescue an unconscious Grace, it's not because of duty or programming. It's because he cares about Grace. When Grace reaches a choice at the film's climax, return to Earth as a hero or stay on Rocky's world and teach, he doesn't agonize over which option serves humanity better. He chooses the friend who knows him. He chooses the person who needed him. He chooses the ordinary life. The filmmakers also made a significant choice by adding a character who doesn't exist in Andy Weir's novel, Carl, a security officer played by Lionel Boyce. Carl's purpose is deceptively simple. He gives Grace someone to talk to. His entire function is to listen, to collaborate, to show that Grace's breakthroughs don't come from solo genius, but from being in relationship with others, from being heard, from mattering to someone. Every major problem in this film is solved through emotional connection first and hard science second. The film is suggesting without apology that relationships are the real currency of survival, that the willingness to be vulnerable and ask for help is not weakness, that care is a form of strength. There's a particularly telling detail from behind the scenes that rarely makes its way into reviews. Rocky, the character who carries so much of the film's emotional weight, is brought to life by a team of women puppeteers: Scarlett Wilderink, Claire Roy Harvey, Arena He, and Darcy Collins. Their work is invisible. You don't see them when you watch the film, but their hands, their bodies, their precise attention to detail creates Rocky's softness, his responsiveness, his ability to convey profound emotion without a traditional face. They're doing invisible labor, the kind of work that gets absorbed into the final product and attributed to the director, the actor, the character design team. And this mirrors exactly what the film explores on screen: care work, communication work, the labor of making connection possible. These things are often invisible because they're coded as feminine, as something women just do naturally, but they're not natural. They're intentional choices, they're skilled work, and they're essential. The film's most quietly feminist moment might be its ending. Ryland Grace has the option to return to Earth, to accolades and recognition, and a triumphant return to his old life. Instead, he chooses chooses to stay with Rocky. He chooses an ordinary life, teaching Iridian students on an alien world. He chooses the person he loves over the external validation of being humanity's savior. This is the opposite of the traditional masculine hero narrative, which is built on the fantasy that you can have both the glory and the intimate relationship. Grace gives up the glory, and the film presents this not as sacrifice, but as the better choice. It's an insistence that staying present matters more than being vindicated. Project Hail Mary arrives at a moment when we're desperate for permission to value softness, to trust that teaching and caring and communicating are forms of strength worth celebrating. Ryland Grace isn't reluctant because he's weak. He's reluctant because he's honest. He knows the real work, the work that actually matters, isn't in the grand gestures or the solo achievements. It's in the person next to you. It's in choosing connection when the world is collapsing. It's in being willing to not have all the answers. This is Ladies First, watching women in movies. Here, we empower women by reviewing and discussing films that highlight their stories, struggles, and achievements. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.